For anybody who's been watching baseball since the year 2000, the San Francisco Giants have been a tenet of stability in the major leagues. One of the few teams in MLB history to actually establish a dynasty, the Giants have had much success over the last 25 years. But it seems as if all of that success has washed away with the tides. This team has no leadership, no control, no management, players all over the place, egos, in control of what could be a fantastic roster. The San Francisco Giants are not the team we once knew. Buster Posey might be at the helm, but he's not behind the dish, and you wish that he was, because this team has not been able to see great success since he left, when they actually set their biggest win total ever with 107. And now they have a manager who doesn't seem to have control of the clubhouse, and Tony Vitello, and a bunch of players that at this point are all on the trade block. Almost everybody should be gone from this roster. But that's not to say they don't have talent. And the San Francisco Giants also are a team that is invested in because they are historically great. And there is no doubt that at some point they will return there. The question is, how long will it take? And for me, it's not how long will it take them, but it will be how long it takes me. As we are going to turn this team back into the dynasty it should be. We're not going to cherry pick this roster and say all these players are great and they all could be great. Honestly, at this point, every single one of these guys could go. Logan Webb could be gone. Landon Raub could be gone. Devers is on the block. Chapman's on the block. They're apparently listening to trades for Willy Adames. Luis Arraez has turned into a Gold Glove player that I think could honestly be on his way out as well, because why wouldn't you with an expiring deal when your team sucks? But they're still fun to be had. I think there's still great players and great young prospects that are interesting that they could possibly build around. It's not like he's super young, but Casey Schmidt has been really good this year. You've got Bryce Eldridge, who honestly has looked really good as well. So they've got some young guys that I think you could build around. But I don't think that we need to pin ourselves down and chain ourselves to this idea that we have to keep this guy or have to keep this guy on this roster. The goal for this is to build a dynasty again, to win 3 championships in 5 years, to get a bunch of aces on this roster, to get maybe another Hall of Fame catcher on the roster. And whoever is still here remaining just gets to be a part of that greatness. Every single player that I can possibly put on the trade block, I have put on the trade block. I don't want to call this team a full-on fire sale because I think we're going to keep the guys that I think are valuable to keep on this team. But right now, I don't know if any of them are. So We are going to be selling off a lot of these players, as I think the Giants are going to be doing in real life, as we are moving forward. We're just moving on. Whatever we have to do to make the right decisions to make this team have a potential future, we're going to do. That also means removing Tony Vitello, who is not actually on this roster, so I don't have to worry about it. We've got Ed Brady instead for some reason. We are actually going to have to play some games, though, to get guys to no longer be untouchable, but that doesn't really matter that much to me. We should lose them anyways. The Giants normally sim pretty poorly. We have the 4th pick, which means this top and first pick that we end up getting is going to be really essential to build this team around. And so I think one of the things that we're looking at is getting another ace pitcher to be kind of our Tim Lincecum, get ourselves our Cy Young pitcher as our potential future for this, as well as getting that catcher. And I'm hoping that Gary Oshiro can be that guy. I don't necessarily know if he is based on his stats, but look, we're going to be looking for catchers every single draft, and if we can get one early who ends up being a stud, that'd be perfect. I think this trade ends up being kind of funny. I know there's a little bias here, but like the idea that the Brewers get both Devers and Kyle Harrison from the Devers trade is actually kind of hilarious to me. We end up getting Luis Pena, who I think is the top guy that I could imagine being able to get for Devers, knowing that his contract is ridiculous. It's terrible. So they're going to get a third baseman that they need to hit with. We have our future second baseman, so we could have a future infield of Luis, and I really like that. And then Luis, because I also have Luis Arraez. Wow, we've got a lot of Luises on this roster. We do also have to throw Landon Raup in this deal, which I'm not really happy with the idea of giving up on an asset like that so early, but honestly, I think he's got a low potential rating, and he does not have a high control stat, so you take your L's in some places, and you know what? We get a future infield to build around. We get a really interesting prospect from the Braves in Eric Hartman, who I really like as a potential left fielder. I don't like that I had to give up Ramos to do it, but I think that it's all right, especially because Ramos is only, 3 years of team control left. I guess 4 technically if you include this year, and plenty older than Hartman. We snag James Tibbs as well, who is terrible for the Dodgers. I don't have to give up too much to do it. Just giving up some bullpen arms. And another big trade, we send Matt Chapman back to the A's and get Jamie Arnold back in return. There is a future prospect pitcher. And we acquire another fantastic asset, getting Cade Anderson. Look, our team is terrible, but honestly, I like the direction we have. I think we're going to keep Logan Webb. I think he's got a good, still got some good potential to be able to build on. I think Randy Rodriguez is somebody who I'm willing to keep. As well as I actually think Luis Arraez is a good guy to keep. He's only hitting 247 for us. He is kind of low value. I don't want to sell him low. I don't think that makes any sense to sell him low. I think what makes more sense is let's buy him, sign him to an extension, and then we can trade him whenever the other 2 Luises are ready to play second and short. As we go into this draft, sadly, none of those catchers ended up looking like phenomenal prospects, but you can see they're still on our big board as players. The guy who actually jumped on our big board is another Luis. Luis Ibarra has jumped up all the way to the top guy on my list. Honestly, looks like he's got a great bat and just all around good defensively. Like, this is essentially Luis Arraez. I could get another one of them. And I would take it. I would take it as second base. Otherwise, we could be looking for our pitcher. There was Ernie Jameson, who was a number one, but he was injured, so we're not going to end up grabbing him. But there's also Miguel Caraballo. There's a couple other guys as well. Jermaine Larson, other pitchers. I like a lot of them. We just got to see what's available at 4. Starting at pick 1, the White Sox are going to take Miguel Caraballo. So he's going to be off the board as probably the top safe pitcher to take. Jeremy Gross is off the board as well, another top pitcher. And so this might make my decision difficult. They take Felix Valle, who I liked. He's on my other players, but I think that just means we are going to have to go with another Luis. Yes, I did want to get a catcher. I did want to get Gary Oshiro, who actually looks like he's got a great bat and great defense. I would hate to miss out on a prospect that looks as good as this, but one of the problems is 78 to 88 potential means he's got a decent floor, but not a high ceiling. And if I'm picking at pick 4, I need a high ceiling. And so Luis Ibarra has about the same floor and a much higher ceiling. I'm taking the second baseman. We don't need that position, but hey, If our team is filled with just all players named Luis, I'm okay with that. Luis Ibarra ends up having an 88 potential, but a great bat and great defense. I like what he could end up being as a star at second base. We grabbed Thurman Frederick in the next round as a decent closer who had a good control stat. Know that that's generally going to be a great reliever, as well as a few other good players. Hinojosa was a decent looking starting pitcher. Eric Hayes was injured. We had him unscouted. Seems like that one backfired, but we ended up getting a 92 potential starting pitcher afterwards and another 92 potential left fielder in Trevor Clements, who's never going to be up at the major league levels. But outside of Eric Hayes, who was injured, this is actually a great draft. Now, the Guardians took a bunch of catchers. I actually like a lot of these guys. Jason Green was one of the guys I was looking at. I wanted Bryce Augustine later down the board. He ended up being really good, as well as Horacio Hollander. So the Guardians took all the catchers, just like they already have Patrick Bailey off of our roster. And Gary Oshiro was not actually that big of a miss. He only had 81 potential. Does have a great bat, though. I think we ended up making the right pick. Surprisingly, we're only 43 and 54 at the break. That's with trading away our whole team. We're literally starting like minor league guys in our lineup right now, replacement level players, and we're not in last place. Which is also why I'm excited to say that we actually have 2 all-stars, one being Randy Rodriguez, who is pitching really, really well. We've got a couple years of team control. I like the idea of having him in our bullpen to build around. And Casey Schmidt hitting 297 at first base. I don't think he's a long-term first baseman for us because we obviously have Eldridge. He could be a third baseman. His name's not Luis, but honestly, he's been fantastic for us. Speaking of Luis, we just signed him to a 5-year extension, $22 million a year to keep Arraez on the roster. That's a potential Gold Glove level second baseman who should be hitting closer to the 300 mark, just knowing who he is as a batter, but he's got power in his bat now. So honestly, I'm excited to have him on the roster, and if we need to trade him down the road, we will be able to just look at 98, like, I guess, okay, as a base roster, he was at 99s all across the board. We somehow sneak into 71 wins this season, and you know what? That's actually great. Ketel Marte wins the MVP with the Arizona Diamondbacks over Lindor and Juan Soto in the National League. Christopher Sanchez with a 1.9 ERA gets the Cy Young with the Philadelphia Phillies. In the NL, on the AL side, Ben Rice is the MVP, getting 49 home runs for the New York Yankees, as Max Fried gets the Cy Young with a 2.19 for the Yankees. Logan Webb ended up having a pretty good year, 3.18 ERA with a 1.18 whip. Despite all the losses, ended up having a strikeout numbers obviously a little low for him, but a pretty good season from a starting pitcher that I think we still want to invest in for the next couple of years. The other guy that we stuck with in our pitching staff that was incredibly impressive was Randy Rodriguez, the 1.64 and a 0.75 whip, 36 saves. Normally you don't hold on to a great closer, but with 5 years of team control, you're not going to deny that is a fantastic asset to hold on to long term, because he was phenomenal for us. Lineup-wise, Luis Arraez was very, very good. 20 home runs sets his career high for the second baseman. As we add to our stable of Luis's 748 OPS on the year, it's not as good as his year in Miami, but still one of his best years. He's pretty consistent with where he was in San Diego. But what I'm impressed with was the offensive showing of some of our young guys. Casey Schmidt this year ended up with an 823 OPS, only 1.4 WAR, as he wasn't necessarily the greatest defensive player, but he also did play DH most of this season. He will be moving over to a different position next year. Daniel Susak is a Rule 5 pickup. 751 OPS was also pretty good at catcher, giving me some time to wait. I don't need to get another guy there. We'll come back to that. Bryce Eldridge in his rookie year ended up being pretty decent, 19 home runs and a 234 average. I'd like to see that. I think we should see a better bat from him down the road, but even like Dason Cross was pretty good. But Jung-Hoo Lee, I mean, I couldn't even trade him if I wanted to. That was awful this year. He ends up with a 689 OPS in a negative 2.4 WAR, just terrible out there on the defensive side. Oh my God. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for that level of production. Hopefully he's just better next year. The Milwaukee Brewers defeat the Mariners in the 2026 World Series. Looks like they capitalized on our Rafael Devers trade. The Mariners also with Willie Adames. And if it wasn't the Mariners, looks like the A's were right there, which was another team we traded with. So we end up being kind of a contributor to this World Series. In fact, Willy Adames won the ALCS MVP. The nice thing about this going into this offseason is we aren't a small market team. We don't have to worry about having, you know, a really cheap contracts. We can spend money if we want to, but we're not going to compete with the roster that we add to this team, you know. So I'm not going to go out and get Scooble because it doesn't make any sense. He's going to want to go to a contender. You know, I don't know about Freddie, but probably the same thing. We can give some guys some bags if we want to, but I think the goal is let's build some guys to be there for when this team ends up becoming something special in the next couple of years. Let's go. We jump up 5 spots. We're gonna have the number 2 pick this draft. That means we were actually slotted at 7, which is kind of crazy because, you know, we were bad. We were selling and we weren't even that bad. Anyways, we will have the number 2 pick this year. We get a massive signing. No, we don't. It's Michael Soroka. Yay! We're going into this next season with a pretty interesting roster, saying that we kind of, you know, I don't know if you like the idea of Trevor McDonald as your number 2 pitcher, but he is for us right now. Soroka's there, Hauser's there. I got Zach Gallen in the bullpen. We brought in Bruce Dark-Gratterall, Jacob Junis, Jose Alvarado. It's an all right pitching staff, and the lineup is, well, it's not great. It's got Casey Schmidt, Luis Arraez, and Bryce Eldridge. I think that's the big fun parts, but otherwise, it's still kind of random. James Tibbs is going to play this year. Brock Wilken is going to play this year. Gives us time to let Luis Pena, Luis Hernandez, and some of the more interesting prospects to develop. Look, the Giants fans watching this, I understand. I know this team is really bad. I understand that. It's not going to be. You just have to get rid of all of the mess to be able to actually build a real foundation. And the Giants are a mess. We have 2 name changes, as our closing pitcher Thurman Frederick is going to turn into Chris DiVincenzo, and pitcher Brian Morales is going to become Luis Ruoque. I wanted to show that now because Brian Morales, or Luis Ruoque, is going to end up being the number 1 prospect in our system at the moment. Actually, one of the top guys that we have here, including all of our other Luises, because we love the name Luis here. Obviously the other guy, Chris DiVincenzo, was not there, but he's a closer. He'll end up being really good. So we have the number 1 farm in all of the major leagues now. That's a team to build around. That's what we're going to be putting onto the major league field, not this year, but maybe next year or the following. We also claimed Clark Schmidt off of waivers, so we'll have another starting pitcher, which will move probably Adrian Hauser to the bench. Maybe we'll move somebody else that is kind of like one of those relievers. We'll just put them back in the AAA team. And I'm excited because we have the 2nd overall pick, and we might have found ourselves a catcher, Roger Walsh. I'm not going to act like Daniel Suzak hasn't been great, but, you know, we want to hit this catcher position right, and this might be the guy. This incredibly thin roster is going to take a big hit as we're going to lose Jung-Hoo Lee for 2 to 3 months. This incredibly thin roster, who, by the way, had a 19-13 first month of the season. And after 2 months, despite barely being above our run differential, we are the number 1 seed in the NL West. Much of that is being powered by an absolutely insane bullpen. In the month of April, Randy Rodriguez was the pitcher of the month and James Tibbs was the rookie of the month. So yeah, we're performing pretty well. I think we've cleaned up that locker room pretty quickly. This might end up being one of the hardest drafts, I think, to do, even though we have the 2nd overall pick, because we're looking at a situation where I don't know if I've ever seen a deeper class than this. There were 12 different players with a traditional generational talent pipeline profile. I don't think there's going to be 12 generational talents. But if I don't get somebody with a high-end potential, I think this is going to be a disaster. Now, Willie Ramirez is a discoverable guy who is the number 1 talent. This is the best player in this class. I scouted him for a while. But can you take him at number 2 if there's a chance he could continue to slip? There's also Roger Walsh, who is a perfect player for what we need. I think the Angels will hopefully make my selection for me. No, they don't. Okay, they take Brett Enfield, which is not one of the 2 guys. Do we gamble knowing this is 100% the best player in this class and take Roger Walsh? because I need a catcher. You know what? High roller, baby. We got so many shortstops and third basemen. Let's go for it. We're going Roger Walsh. I really hope that he's available in the next round. No way. Pick 46. Guess who's still here? Willie Ramirez. Welcome to the Giants. We hit on a 90 potential in Roger Walsh at a 74 overall. This is going to be a superstar catcher for us to build around. Willie Ramirez is already a 76 overall with a 91 potential. Fantastic offense and defense. He might take the third base position next season. Sorry, Brock Wilken. We also get Luis Pena because we don't already have him. Pedro Parra is good. Like, these last two picks are all right, but that is an insane top four. The A's did snag a 98 potential starting pitcher that I didn't even see. But surprisingly, despite me seeing a lot of guys who profiled as potential generational talents, nobody was. We got the best player in the draft in Willie Ramirez. Outside of the pitcher, of course. But Willie Ramirez, I mean, yeah, this is... God, we have a lot. We got a clogged up infield now. Do we deserve to be the top team in our division? No. But apparently we are. So at 51 and 46 at the All-Star break, we are in first place in our division. Diamondbacks are catching us, but that's crazy to me. We've dealt with injuries, and this team is just honestly not really that good. But hey, we're performing. You can see that by us getting 3 All-Stars. Logan Webb with a 2.62 right now. Glad we kept him. Randy Rodriguez. Fantastic investment to keep him. 0.7 ERA with a 0.93 whip. And then Luis Arraez, great investment to keep him. He has been phenomenal as well. Rocky said, asked me for Gavin Keelan for basically nothing I would have wanted, but I don't really have a need for him because we have so many shortstop prospects. I don't think he fits on this roster. Harrison Bader's an expiring deal, and I can get Brenton Doyle, which is basically just Harrison Bader, but with 3 years of team control. I don't necessarily think it's a great player to have on the team. He's hitting 179, but it's not like Harrison Bader's doing anything for me either. The Dodgers put it together after the All-Star break and are 77 and 62. They did trade for Joe Adell and Jose Soriano, so I'm not going to act like they just put their team together. They had to give up a lot to do it. Otherwise, this race would have been us and the Diamondbacks, which would have been a close one. Technically, we're still in the wild card race, but yeah, we're 68 and 72. We've fallen back, regressed back to where we should be, somewhere around 500. A little worse than we should be, actually. We've been losing some games, but it's fine. That's actually probably a good spot to be. Maybe we can fight for a wild card spot, but it would be a terrible wild card spot. We finished the season at 80 and 82, just below 500. Honestly, great season for how mediocre the roster was. And Brock Wilken is the Rookie of the Year. Man, Willie Ramirez is gonna have to upseat the Rookie of the Year. Juan Soto is the MVP for the Mets, 54 home runs on 111 RBIs on the season, beating out Chourio and CJ Abrams. Cy Young goes to Paul Skeens, beating out Kyle Harrison and Tarek Skubal, who's now a Diamondback, by the way. Yordan Alvarez wins the MVP for the Houston Astros, and Joe Ryan is the Cy Young Award winner for the Twins. We actually have the number 1 and number 2 in this race, as we had James Tibbs sitting right behind him. I think Tibbs was probably the better player for most of the season, but Wilken really put it together in the latter half, pretty much after I drafted Willie Ramirez. Bryce Eldridge did break his arm in the last month of the season, but look at that progression. 5 overall. He's up to an A potential player. Still only hit 236 with a 727 OPS and not a great WAR, but 24 home runs for our first baseman. Like, that's actually really nice to have, and he's up to a 700 plus OPS. If we can get him above 750 by next season, I'm excited to see what he can do. We mentioned our bullpen was amazing this season, and they were. It looks like okay, Jason Foley didn't really play, but Randy Rodriguez, I think, was second in the save race again this time. 39 saves this year. Look at the 3-season run. 178, 165, 151. He's getting better, which is crazy. He just walked so many more batters this season than he did last year. But still, 39 saves. Wasn't going to get reliever of the year for that. But the pitching staff was still pretty good. Logan Webb, 281 with a 114 was good. Trevor McDonald, no. Soroka was good as an addition. Birdsong was pretty good this year. I have to, though, pivot to, oh my God, you are so bad. What happened? Can anybody ask in real life what happened to Zach Gallen to go from like this to what is this? Yeah, I kind of wish I didn't sign him. This year, we had a bunch of kind of random bats this year. A couple guys getting over an 800 OPS, as Jared Oliva did, only 66 at bats. But Pavin Smith with a 268 average and a 444 slugging on the season with 22 home runs. It's a great addition to the roster. We had an 802 from Jung-Hoo Lee after his injuries, still hitting 9 home runs. Was he a negative WAR player? No, he was positive. He didn't make any mistakes. He mainly played DH this year, so last year was just a fluke. Decent year there for Gilbert and Wong. Arraez, 286 average, 751 OPS. This is our best player, 4.5 WAR. Casey Schmidt, not great. He played a lot of third and second and shortstop this season. He's just not a good defensive player. And that's going to make it a question mark for where we're going to end up putting him. Because he's a good bat, but he can't play defense. So is he our future DH? Probably. Bryce Eldridge, it looks like the better defender of the two at first base. So, yeah, I mean, James Tibbs was bad defensively. Susac was good. Brenton Doyle was whatever. It doesn't matter. He was just kind of a defensive outfielder for us. So, yeah, we ended up doing pretty good, though, on the season. 22 home runs from Arraez, 26 from Schmidt, 16 from Wilkin, 24 from Eldridge. Like, yeah, we're not a 30 home run. We don't have any guys with 30 home runs, but we got some power. We have some power. And the Brewers defeat the Astros in the 2027 World Series. Going into this next season, we have to make some decisions in free agency. I think one thing I have to do right away is we're just going to waive Zach Gallen, hope somebody else will take him, because I don't want that on my roster if he's going to be that bad. But we've got 4 pitchers, I think, for this upcoming year. Webb, Soroka, McDonald, and Birdsong. Anderson and Arnold are there, so we might do a 1-year deal with some starting pitcher to fill the spot of Zach Gallen. Otherwise, I want to play the young guys. So Susac there, obviously Schmidt, Eldridge, Arraez. Wilkin was good this past year. Maybe it's time to give Luis Pena his shot this year. Eric Hartman could come up. So I don't want to go out and get free agents if we don't need them. Maybe a 1-year deal for a starter. And we get our pitcher who's going to be a 1-year deal. I actually gave 2 years. We're grabbing Griffin Jax to be a starter. If he ends up not being like performative as a starter, at least he can be a bullpen arm. I haven't been showing them all, but I just got to say, the amount and crazy trades that I have seen so far in this rebuild, I should just go look at some of these rosters so I can show you what some of these trades have been. The Yankees have Cade Smith, Mike Trout, and Bo Bichette. Josh Hader is on the Tigers. Mackenzie Gore got traded to the Royals. Pete Alonso got traded to the Astros. Matt Chapman got traded to the... Okay, that was me, actually. He's an A potential now. Like... Wow, what a... Hey, he just needed to be back, and he needed to be back with the A's. Mason Miller got traded to the Braves. Seiya Suzuki got traded to the Phillies. So that Francisco Lindor pickup, yeah, they were just like, hey, we just need to be the oldest team ever. We traded for Lindor, Seiya. We still have Harper and Trey Turner. This team is so weird. The Pirates traded for Michael King and Adley Rutschman. And then, of course, we have the Dodgers, who have traded for Jose Soriano, Jose Ramirez, and Corey Seager. I don't know what this reality is. And actually, I had no intention of making this deal, but he was sitting on the market for a long time. We're going to grab Adrian Morejon. He's normally really, really good. Normally always for the Milwaukee Brewers in this, but he's going to be good for us instead. This season, we're going in with a pitching staff of Logan Webb, Griffin Jax, Soroka, Birdsong, Trevor McDonald, and Ezra Cedeno as our our 6th starter. I love the bullpen arms, really, with this team. I think it's going to be great. And Jamie Arnold, Kate Anderson, if they start to perform really, really well, then I think we might move them up and we'll give them a shot to play. But if not, then we just wait till September. And the lineup's a little messy. I can say that because I think that we have a little bit too many guys that play kind of the same positions right now. Because I want to give Luis Pena and Eric Hartman a chance to play this season while obviously still giving shots to Eldridge and, and Schmidt and everybody and Jung-Hoo Lee, Pavin, and Luis Arraez. I think there's a chance if these guys like Hartman and Eldridge and all of our younger guys play well, that I might have to trade one of the older players on this roster like Pavin or Jung-Hoo Lee. I don't think we're going to trade Luis. He's too good. But, yeah, this team I think is in a interesting position because I really want these guys to perform well. We lose Daniel Susac for 1 to 2 months, which sucks because he's actually really, really good. He's progressing to a level I haven't really mentioned him. where we drafted the catcher, and I don't know if we really even needed to. Susac looks like he could be the guy. Small sample size to start off, but 317 with a 964 OPS. I mean, yeah. Sucks to lose him for 1 or 2 months. We're also doing another name change. We got the recommendation to just call him Willie Mays, but that's a lot of pressure to put on him. He's William May. And if he's gonna be Willie, then I gotta make it adjust. You can't also be Willie. You can't have 2 stars on your team with the same name. That would be ridiculous. So don't worry, guys. It's Connor Wong season. I'm not bringing up I'm not bringing up Willie Mays yet. I'm gonna give him some time. He might be hitting 400 in the minors though. And we lose another big player, Hayden Birdsong, out for 2 months. Unlike, with we can survive with Connor Wong, but I think we need to call up one of our pitchers. Looks like Jamie Arnold is doing better of the 2. We're gonna call up Jamie Arnold. We're gonna give him his shot right now. Also, what an insane start to the season for Michael Soroka. 0.84 ERA with a 108 whip in 10 games. That's a crazy start. He's only given up 4 runs. And that throws a wrench into my trading Pavin Smith plan, so... Wow, injuries this season. But despite the injuries, we are still above 500 and second place in the West. The Dodgers are running away because, you saw their roster when I showed off all the trades and everything. But we could be a wild card team. The trades in this rebuild are just insane. Like, why would the Nationals do this? This doesn't make any sense. I know he's in the last year of his deal, but he's hitting 309. Jamie Arnold is getting rocked in the 10 games he has played so far. We're going to send him right back down. Going into the draft this year, we do not have a top pick. Finally, we are sitting around, I think, pick 15 in this draft, and we don't have a second round pick either due to our Griffin Jax acquisition. So we're just kind of hoping that we can find somebody who's going to be a good talent. Dave Keane is the best player on the board. He'll probably go number 1. Adrian Baez is also up there, and then there's another catcher. I don't need one, but there's a superstar stud defensively first catcher in Oswaldo Guzman, who could be great to put alongside our future catchers, but now we don't really need it because Suzak's good. I don't really know. We'll just see what ends up being available when we get to our pick. So we are sitting here at pick 15, and when I look at my board, we have a couple options. We have Raul Ferreira, who has good control as an interesting player. But then there's 2 other guys here. We've got Oswaldo Guzman, who is a star. Definitely going to be very, very good defensively, but has no offensive traits. But still, fantastic profile here. And there's also Jung-Woo Wong, who is a little bit more all around, not as high of a ceiling, but I think could be a little bit more useful for us as he can play a lot more positions. Also could just play catcher. I think of these, Oswaldo Guzman is the better player. But I think we are going to take Jung-Woo Wong just because we could use more outfielders that could be productive. And that's more important, I think, to just our future of our team. And he has a lot of versatility. Hopefully, he's not injured. Jung-Woo Wong looks all right, 86 potential. But honestly, he has a great bat, good contact, good vision, good clutch, decent defensive ability. It's not great, but still looks like a great player. I think it's a good acquisition. Andy Durant didn't scout at all. He just looked like a good player. I think he'll end up being one. But really, we hit our shots late. Chris Burnett, 89 potential, 92 for Geronimo, and a 99 potential starter with good control. This is a Cy Young. This is a Cy Young pitcher. 100%. Whenever he gets up to the major leagues. That's like our third ace. And the Guardians have a great draft, taking everybody else who's on my big board. I think they're just watching because Adrian Baez is really good. Oswaldo Guzman is actually really good, 93 potential. I don't think I messed up this pick though. Great power, great defense. I think he'll be fantastic, but I think he'll hit 220. And I think Susac, honestly, is just going to be better as a backup catcher. They also get Rob Phillips again, by the way. This is a guy I scouted in year 1, had him on my big board in year 1. They drafted him and didn't sign him in year 1, and he's still there. And they drafted him again. And then there's Dave Keane, who, if I had that top pick, oh my God. Look at the hits per 9 versus righties, Ks per 9, the control, and 95 potential. Insane pitcher. At the All-Star break, we are plenty above 500, still chasing down a ridiculous Dodgers roster. They've got 90 overall Jose Soriano coming off the bench. He's in their bullpen. Ridiculous. And we have no starters this year, as the Dodgers are going to have a few. And then we have Randy Rodriguez in one of the worst seasons he's had so far in his career, but still a good year right now with 34 saves on the season. Casey Schmidt is an all-star right now, trailing Michael Busch, who's leading the MVP race. He's at 92 overall. It's the same roster I used for my Cubs video, by the way. Luis Arraez is going to be hitting 287, 17 home runs. Good for an all-star. Otherwise, I don't believe we have anybody else. Rafael Devers is an all-star. Yeah. A lot of Brewers. I almost must have missed it. Chung-Hoo Lee is an all-star. Maybe this is the time that we capitalize on it. That's really good value. If he's an all-star right now, maybe I'll throw him on the trade block, see what we can get for him. And we lose Eric Hartman for 2 months. Which really hurts because he was chasing down Condon for Rookie of the Year. I think Condon's pretty much got that locked up then. After the break, we're looking at 66 and 49, or the trade deadline. Really, we're 66 and 49, leading the way in the NL wild card. And I was considering how I could possibly make this team a little bit better, but there wasn't really a deal that lined up. There was an interesting deal from the Phillies, but I didn't think it was necessarily good enough. Really, it didn't make sense to sell because we could be a playoff team, and I don't really think that we had there was really nothing interesting on the market to buy unless we really wanted to spend a lot. It's also really hard when you have this team in your division who, by the way, traded Jose Soriano, so they did get rid of him, and they got Justin Steele in return, who they have 3 years of team control with. Soriano was in the last year of his deal. So okay. Somehow they haven't won a World Series yet. Going into the last month of the season, we are 85 and 55. We have not technically clinched the wild card, but somehow this garbage team, okay, it's not terrible, but it is really insane to me that this team is good enough to be a playoff team, especially with how great some of the other teams are that we're fighting with. But hey, I guess our division kind of sucks. It's just us and the Dodgers. We might have a kind of easy schedule. And we've got the right guys. We have the right locker room. You know, who knew that all you need for team chemistry is make your whole team filled with guys named Luis? Oh my God. Talk about a comeback. We win the division, 101 wins on the season. We won 5 straight at the end of the season. The Dodgers lost 2 straight, but they at one point had like a 20-game lead on us, and we closed the gap. It was like legit. I think they were 20 games up from us at one point in like May. So how did we do that? It had to be NL Rookie of the Year, Luis Pena, right? MVP goes to Michael Busch, who has 52 home runs, 104 RBIs, beating out Yelich and Juan Soto. Cy Young goes to Mitch Keller. Insane season for Mitch Keller, as the Pirates must be really good. Kurtz wins the MVP on the AL side, with Hunter Brown winning the Cy Young. I mean, yeah, let's take a look. Oh, yeah. I mean, Condon had such a massive gap on Hartman. Pena must have had an insane second half of the season. But hey, we get 2 Rookie of the Years, back-to-back years, both from the Devers trade. Randy Rodriguez also leads the league in saves. At the end of the day, I guess you just kind of got to give it to the whole team, the pitching staff. We brought Jamie Arnold back up. He got his ERA down. Foley was great. Alvarado was great. Brusdar was great. Morejon was great. Killian, not so much. Randy had a little bit worse ERA, but obviously 54 saves because he was in more opportunities. Logan Webb, phenomenal. Griffin Jax, phenomenal. Soroka, phenomenal. Trevor McDonald is meh, and Hayden Birdsong missed a lot of time due to injury, but I mean, that's a really good pitching staff. To think that our team outpitched this. Like, this is what they had, and we outpitched them. Really, just the story of the true underdog story, because Casey Schmidt, 882 OPS, 285, averaging 37 home runs. Wow, what a season. That's like an MVP caliber year. He gets a couple more home runs. Maybe he gets into that race. Chung-Hoo Lee, 31 home runs in right field. We talked about, man, he was like a negative contract in year 1. He doesn't look like it. Eldridge was good with 25 homers, 273 average. Oh my God, this team was so good. We got Susak with an 821 OPS, Luis Pena with an 805 OPS. He had 11 home runs. That's crazy. That's like, okay, all right. He's got like no power. All right. Luis Arraez 280 with 26 home runs. Dude, this team is really fun. I did not expect this team to be this fun. The back half is kind of weak, but hey, no negative players this year. This is going to be so difficult as we look forward. I know before we get to the playoffs here, next year, I'm going to have to decide like, hey, do we bring up Luis Ramirez, who's an 80 overall? Do we bring up William May? Probably, honestly, because I don't think I'm keeping Connor Wong, who's a 78. Luis Hernandez isn't ready, but Luis Ibarra is. He hit like 315 all season in AAA. Like, maybe he comes up. I don't really have the roster spots for this. Like, this team is so good that a guy like Andrew Fisher is never going to play. I think, like, if I went down to Carmen Carrasco, like, that's a top 100 prospect. This is insane how good this farm system has got and how good this team has gotten this fast. Game 1 of our first playoff appearance for the San Francisco Giants is going to surprisingly be against the Pittsburgh Pirates, who were able to upset the Los Angeles Dodgers, who seemingly fell apart in the latter half of the season. And it was going to be a rough start as Logan Webb got injured after the first batter of the game had to come out, but Jamie Arnold stepped up and pitched very, very well, only giving up 3 runs in his appearance all the way to the 6th inning. But it was Jung-Hoo Lee who came up real clutch, hitting a grand slam in the 7th to give us a lead in which we were able to hold on and win 7-4 over the Pirates in Game 1. And so we won't have Logan Webb, but Jamie Arnold I think will be all right. I guess he won't play this first series. Hopefully Webb will be back by the next series if we need him. But really, we got to beat this fantastic Pirates team, and it's kind of actually a surprise that we even won Game 1, but we got a grand slam out of Jung-Hoo Lee, and one of your guys who, I guess he, like, kind of been a shock to me that he's been as good as he has been this season. When they perform, and your young guys perform, that's all you need. So can we win our second game in San Fran? Jax versus Keller. We cannot. Randy Rodriguez blows it. Seth Hernandez with the win. God, this Pirates team is really good. Soroka in Game 3 in Pittsburgh against Michael King also takes the loss. We're down 2-1 to the Pirates. Trevor McDonald versus Skeens in Game 4. Yeah, it doesn't look like our team was good enough, but hey, we're young. I'm actually just happy to be here. We got lucky that Jung-Hoo Lee hit a grand slam in Game 1, but we're not going to be going any further than that. And the A's and the Brewers' chance of three-peating as they defeat them in the 2028 World Series. Seems like the Brewers super team has just been completely dominant. One of the reasons the Dodgers haven't been as good despite their fantastic roster, they go 7 games with the A's as they try to hold on to their dynasty. And it's consistently different guys for them too. Garrett Mitchell was the NLCS MVP over Devers and Yelich. Last year it was Devers. The year before it was Jake Bauers. World Series MVPs have gone to different guys for them, but the A's are going to pull it out this time. As we go into this offseason, there's a pivotal question to look forward to for our franchise and our chance to kind of create a dynasty. I think we were a year early here. Obviously, we weren't ready for the Pirates pitching staff, which makes a lot of sense. They're a fantastic pitching staff. But we have weapons, but I don't necessarily know if they're ready yet either. Do you invest in veterans, knowing that you need more veteran presence because our guys are young, or do you give yourself room for the young guys that we have on the roster to develop? I think we have to be somewhat in between. I think some of our guys that are a little bit younger should be gone, and some of the guys that are a little bit older should be gone. And really, that's all about capitalizing on the value of the players, kind of their peaks where I think that we have them. Jung-Hoo Lee, phenomenal season this past year for us. 31 home runs, 35 doubles with an 853 OPS and, a 4.6 WAR. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that again. And if we're talking about trying to sell high, this is a great guy to sell high on, because I don't necessarily think there's a lot of value in keeping him when we have so many players that can play in the outfield on this roster. I also think there's a good chance we could flip him into something valuable. He still has some years of team control left, 2 to be exact, and playing as well as he did, especially in the playoff game, might be a great guy to flip. In the opposite vein, I think James Tibbs is another player at the same position who is younger, but I don't necessarily think he looks like he is going to be a part of this future on this franchise. Now, he has developed both years that he has been here, but I don't know if he fits. He's not good enough defensively to give me, to let me say, oh, we need to have him out there on the defensive side. And his bat just isn't good enough against both sides. It's great against righties, but we've got that. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of value in Pavin Smith. Definitely should have traded him at the deadline, but he was injured, so we weren't going to be able to do so. He was really, really good last year. Maybe should have traded him last year. But I think we're kind of in a spot where we don't need him. We've got Schmidt and Eldridge, and we've got enough outfielders. Look, I got to make room for the young guys that we have coming up. Pavin Smith might be a guy on the way out. Hayden Birdsong is a player who's coming off 2 good years in a row, despite the injuries, obviously, this past year. I think is still a very, very productive pitcher. But with 2 years of team control, he's in arbitration. I don't necessarily know if his ratings are going to be something that look that reliable. I mean, the control's pretty low. He was good this year, but is that going to be consistent, or are we going to see a drop-off? In the meantime, one of the reasons we're looking at this is there's a lot of free agents here. Now, we don't have a lot of money. We won't be able to afford everybody here, but there's a chance that we could get somebody. If we can get somebody to add to this roster, maybe, just maybe, we can have a long-term solution in some of the positions that we have some weaknesses at. And so because we need defense, we are going to get a 5-tool player in Wyatt Langford, player who I think is going to be great deal and great value for Brenton Doyle and Hayden Birdsong, and should save us some cash. It does mean that we're going to need a pitcher. Cain Anderson and Jamie Arnold are going to be up. I think Wyatt Langford is going to be a really interesting piece in the outfield. And that gives a spot for Jung-Hoo Lee to be traded. We're going to get Taj Bradley in return. I think that fixes our pitching problem. I think Taj Bradley is a significant upgrade over Birdsong, and I think Langford is a significant improvement over that other outfield spot. Now, we did just trade 3 outfielders, but I think that's fine. We have an ace pitcher here. That's not really an ace, but, Taj Bradley's a very good pitcher. And we finally get off Zach Gallen, as well as giving Connor Wong and Dason Cross up for Garrett McDonough, a pitcher that doesn't look that interesting, but he's a future prospect to be able to flip. And we get our last outfielder as that other potential guy is bringing Elliot Ramos back, giving up Drew Gilbert, Pavin Smith, Ezra Cedeno, and Jared Oliva. We have cleared up a lot of room on the 40-man, and now we have 3 solid outfielders. And we get our big free agent signing, what we cleared our money for, Jose Soriano, 6 years, $22 million a year. Now, this does clog up our pitching staff, but essentially it puts us on 2 different timelines. We now have the Logan Webb, age 32, kind of, mid-30s, late 30s. We got Soriano's 30, Taj Bradley's 27, versus like the young guys like Arnold and then the 2 Luises in our farm system that we can bring up. So we have 2 different timelines we're working with now, and maybe, just maybe, we can see success in both different timelines. We lose Daniel Susak during the spring training before the season, so William May is the full-time catcher this season. And so we should be going into next season with a playoff team, great starting pitching staff, Bradley, Jax, Webb, actually I'll make sure Webb is a game 1 starter, Soriano, Soroka, who has been great. Trevor McDonald is kind of the weak link there, but we have both Cade Anderson and Jamie Arnold, both in the wings if we need to bring somebody up, which we might have to because Trevor McDonald is on a short leash for us, just as obviously Soroka and Jax are nearing the end of their contracts. We also got Abner Uribe somehow out of the Rule 5 draft. And lineups are a little messy to start off because I don't really want to have AJ Vukovic up here, but he's a utility guy and we don't have a backup catcher simply because Susak is there. If there was Susak, I would not have Vukovic here. Anyways, this roster is pretty much the same. I think I can't say that actually. It's pretty much the same structure from a base standpoint. We have Luis Arraez, Schmidt, Eldridge now, Hartman, Ramos, and Langford are the outfielders in this lineup. In the lefty lineup, though, we will not see Hartman play. Instead, you will see Vukovic because he is very good against lefties. What I'm excited about is Luis Ibarra and Luis Ramirez are both going to be up. They will both play mainly against lefties to start, but if they perform well, they will take the spot over Wilkin, which honestly, we should probably just do that now. So Wilkin won't get as much opportunity. He will be a bench bat for now on. Same with Andrew Fisher. But we got the Luises here. Luis Pena, Luis Ramirez, Luis Arraez, and Luis Ibarra all in the lineup, and William May. It's opening day in what I think is going to be one of the most fun seasons. I really love this team now. It's so much different from where we were at, where I felt like I wasn't necessarily sure if I liked a lot of the guys in the team. We have an identity, and the identity is now we are the San Francisco Luises, and that's all that we need. In fact, our entire infield is named Luis. And that's the best part about this roster, because actually, I think this team has a lot more fun together now with this idea. This first time coming up, we get Luis Ibarra, boom, hit, first at bat. Luis Ramirez did struggle in his first time, but William May came up, boom, RBI, got a hit. He got his first hit on the day. When Luis Ramirez came back around, he got a hit, and Luis Arraez is the one who is the leader in the locker room who's celebrating the small victories for our young guys. Ibarra had an RBI, Ramirez had 2 RBIs, and we end up winning today, getting an 8-inning outing from Logan Webb. And William May hits his first career home run the next day. Yes. We also at this point have such a good team, it is time to move scouting back over to automatic. We'll still draft, but I'm not going to make the decisions anymore. We have the best farm system by a mile. The San Francisco Luises are one of the best teams in all of baseball, as we have a 302 team average. That is being led by MVP leader William May. He's from Boston. This is the naming convention there. And of course, the captain of the ship, Luis Arraez. He's really helping everybody else get good, like Luis Hartman, or Luis Ramos, or Luis Eldridge, or Luis Schmidt. Even Luis Webb is pitching well, Luis Jax isn't that well, and Luis Bradley not doing great at all, but Luis Soriano's good, Luis Soroka is good. Yeah. Luis, when your team's just firing in all cylinders like this, you almost forget that we lost our starting catcher for 5 months. At the All-Star break, we're 67-30, really hunting down that best record ever that we set in 2021, and we got a big gap with the Diamondbacks and Dodgers. But the big gap has not necessarily led to a lot of all-stars, as you would expect. We do have Randy Rodriguez, once again, as an all-star in our bullpen. William May, because he's phenomenal, is an all-star at catcher. And Casey Schmidt is an all-star mainly as DH, because that's what he's playing, not first base. But no Arraez, who's currently leading the batting title race. No Wyatt Langford, like none of our pitchers, like Logan Webb wasn't in there either. All right, it's going to be a fun one. Speaking of Wyatt Langford, we moved him over to be kind of our center fielder for this season and gave him a long contract extension. So he will be here till 2034. That does lead us into the question of other contract extensions. Both Griffin Jax and Taj Bradley, both members of that same trade, are upcoming free agents, but Bradley is not playing well, and Jax is entering one of his, I think he's age 34, so it'll be his age 35 season. I don't think we need to pay either of them, unless Bradley turns it around in the second half of the season, which he could, by the way. He definitely could. We will bring him back then. But Ramos, I think, should be back as well. We probably should have never sent him away. Honestly, he's outplaying Hartman anyways. We don't draft very well in this one because we had no scouting. Jason Ozuna was actually from 40 all the way up to 1, which means that the CPU did scout him, but used the wrong scout to do so, so he sucked. Same thing with Lee Key. Peter Ransom was a guy I saw got drafted in the first round like last year, maybe 2 years ago. So I was like, I'm definitely taking him. He looks like a good player. And then everybody else, honestly, we had no information on, was just kind of lucky. So it's whatever. There were also no good Luises. I mean, Luis Barrero wasn't good. Neither was Luis Beltran. So just outside of my wheelhouse, this draft was. And we win 111 games this year, dominating the entire major leagues. Jose Soriano wins the Cy Young Award. Our newest acquisition is a Cy Young Award winning pitcher. We also get a Rookie of the Year for William May, and he gets it again with a batting title. Best player ever named William May ever in San Francisco, 100%, right? Yordan Alvarez wins the MVP over Casey Schmidt, who had a phenomenal season. 309, 56 home runs, 137 RBIs for Jordan is crazy with the Philadelphia Phillies. But Schmidt also 48 home runs, 122 RBIs, and a 275 average. We have 220 win pitchers on our team as Soriano wins the Cy Young, Logan Webb in second, Skubal finishing third with the Diamondbacks. What a season there on the AL side. It's Carlos Cortez who gets the MVP for the A's. I actually was really trying to see if I could get him in the offseason. He was kind of one of the guys I was deciding between him and Wyatt Langford. Probably should have went with Carlos Cortez, but I think it ends up being fine. Logan Gilbert wins the Cy Young easily as he was third in the MVP race. We also get the top three in the Rookie of the Year race. This is all Giants on this team. We've got Brock Wilken, Luis Pena, and William May finishing the last 3 years in a row as the Rookie of the Year. And we have the top three this year with May, Luis Ramirez, and Luis Ibarra as our top three here. Ibarra is doing more of a split role, so he's not getting as many opportunities as the other two. But, I mean, this is insane. In fact, William May might have just kind of cemented himself without no need to even bring Susac back. 318 average, 969 OPS, 35 home runs, 105 RBIs, 18 stolen bases from our catcher, 9.5 WAR as well in his rookie season. This is a $70,000 player. He gets a Silver Slugger and an All-Star Rookie of the Year and a batting title in his rookie year. And we've still got the playoffs to come. We have league leaders with Soriano in winning percentage, wins, and Webb in innings pitched. And we have William May in batting average and leads the entire league in WAR. Realistically, that's an MVP. For reference, Buster Posey's rookie season was one of the best rookie seasons by a catcher of all time. In that season, he put up 124 hits, 18 home runs with a 305, 357, 505 slash line. And in just about every single way, William May outplayed him in his rookie season, especially accumulating 9.5 WAR with a 998 fielding percentage, which is going to be really comparable as well. Honestly, this was almost better than Buster Posey's MVP season, where he hit only 24 home runs and 103 RBIs, though Posey's average was higher, hitting 336. His OPS was actually pretty similar. I think it was a 957 that season. So we're talking about MVP Posey as a rookie. Soriano was the Cy Young this year with a 299 average and a 114 whip. Only 177 strikeouts, but going 21-3 as a starting pitcher is phenomenal. Last year he was also great. Could have been, but he was a bullpen pitcher there. I mean, this is just capitalizing on an insane asset for us to be able to get Soriano. Because Logan Webb probably would have won the Cy Young. Otherwise, maybe that one game difference is going to be significant. 293, 103 whip with 202 strikeouts. He was the better pitcher, I think, over the entire year, but Soriano did lose less games. And looking at the rest of the pitching staff, I mean, Jack's all right in his last, not last season, but age 34 season. Taj Bradley was not very good for us. Seems like a bad investment. I think sometimes you make those. Soroka somehow only had 8 decisions in this entire season. He played the entire year, but I guess only 124 innings pitched. More of a bullpen guy at this point. Probably should have swapped with Trevor McDonald, who had a 205 in the bullpen. Fantastic bullpen, by the way. Alvarado, 225. 352 from Killian. 225 from Foley in 80 innings. Abner Uribe, Rule 5 pickup. Can't believe that the Brewers let him walk. He was terrible, by the way, in 2027 and 2026. So I understand that they let him walk because he was awful, but unbelievable that he was available to us. Morhone was great. Gratterall was great. I think I signed him to a contract extension. We did. And then we have Randy Rodriguez. Phenomenal. Again, 45 saves. And looking at the bats in this lineup, we got a 969 OPS, obviously from William May, but Bryce Eldridge, I was considering signing him to an extension as well, but he's asking for about $31 million a year outside of arbitration. And the only thing I can get that makes sense would be to pay him $27 million. I'll just wait. Honestly, we'll pay him later. Bryce Eldridge is a lock on this roster. He is phenomenal. He's up to a 93 overall. Wilken was great this year. Schmidt, obviously, in the MVP race. Luis Ramirez was great. Langford has been phenomenal. Also great defensively. So I think he ends up racking up a lot of WAR .2. Yeah, perfect season on defense, 4.6 WAR out in center. Actually, should just adjust his position to just be a center fielder. Ramos, I signed to that extension. He did very well with 31 home runs. Hartman, I mean, all right. Still over 800 OPS. That's still pretty good. Luis Arraez was not as phenomenal, but he's the leader in the locker room. Ybarra and Pena split the role there. And Susak is back for the playoffs. Also, just taking a look at rookies in the month for the entire season, you started off with William May. Then a Marlin jumped in my way before William May got another one in June. Ybarra jumped in, hitting 381 in July. And then Ramirez hit 403 in August. We did not get player of the month in September for some reason. Game 1 of our playoff series, our first series, is going to be against the Arizona Diamondbacks, the other team in our division who also won 90-plus games and has a fantastic, older, but fantastic pitching staff and a lot of veteran presence, where our team is much younger, and our veteran is Luis Arraez, but he is El Capitan for us. It was a pitching duel between Burns and Webb for most of this game as it became 2-2 after a Perdomo home run and an Eric Hartman home run, but in the bottom of the ninth, Luis Ramirez hits a walk-off home run to make it a 3-2 victory for us as we go up 1-0. And despite their veteran roster, our youth is being held up by our GOATs. Game 2, Griffin Jax versus Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be another 4-3 victory as we go up 2-0. Taj Bradley on the mound versus Skubal in Game 3 in Arizona, and we win all 3 games. We'll be taking on the winner of the Phillies and Brewers. The Brewers try to make it to their 4th straight World Series, which we're going to try to put an end to, at least that run. The team that we practically built, the Devers trade, they have been extremely successful over the past couple of years, but this year, it's our year. 111 wins. The San Francisco Luises are just going to be hard to beat. And we were hard to beat. Jose Soriano, amazing game, 7 innings. Only 2 hits, giving up a home run to Tristan Casas. But we get a 3-run home run from Wyatt Langford late in the game to make it a 4-1 victory over the Brewers. And Soriano gets to start that game specifically because we played so well in the first 3 games against the D-backs. Now, we are going to have to try to make sure that we can win the games with the other pitchers that aren't Soriano and Webb and hopefully win by larger gaps than 1 run. It's Soroka versus former Giant Landon Raup in Game 2. As we get a 6-9 loss, Robert Gasser getting the victory in San Francisco. Logan Webb versus Mizorowski in Game 3, hoping to win a game on the road. We cannot. We're down 2-1 to the Brewers before going Griffin Jax versus Henderson. We get the victory. It is 2-2. Taj Bradley versus former San Francisco Giant Kyle Harrison. We get another victory. We are up 3-2 on the Brewers. It's going to be Soriano versus Miz in Game 6. Give us the victory. Let us advance to the World Series. We do. We'll be taking on the winner of the A's and the White Sox. Hopefully that means that's the end of the Brewers' tenure on top. But, I mean, you look at their pitching staff and how young it is. I doubt that it is. But for now, it's going to be our time as we are going to be taking on the Chicago White Sox in this year's World Series. As they took down the A's in 7 games, we will not see a repeat winner for the first time in a long time, actually. This could have been year 6 of repeats in a row. But instead, I think this is going to be our year, and Logan Webb on the mound is going to make sure that it is Game 1 absolute domination from your San Francisco Giants. Luis Arraez, a double to get 2 runs early and a home run late to get another. Wyatt Langford also hit 1 as well, but we win 5-0 behind our captain, Luis Arraez. And so Game 2 would be against Drew Rasmussen here in San Francisco in Oracle. Griffin Jax on the mound versus his former teammate. We get another 2-0 victory. Still no runs for the White Sox so far in this series. Soroka will be on the mound for Game 3. This is their opportunity to score some runs. We got to make sure they don't. We got to keep, put on a little bit of a show. Never mind. No, we don't. We're up 3-0. Soriano on the mound versus Shane Smith for Game 4. In what is going down so far as one of the biggest annihilations of another team, the 88-win White Sox still have yet to score a run, and they have to go against Cy Young award-winning pitcher Jose Soriano. They have Shane Smith on the mound, but will this team be able to get any offense going? Will this series be made interesting? Likely not, but this is our chance to win our World Series here in 2029. Starting off, we have Bryce Eldridge up first against Shane Smith, who grounds out. Casey Schmidt lines out, and Luis Arraez, the captain, with a solo shot early on in the game to make it 1-0. And then Luis Ramirez responds with his own 2-0 over the White Sox here early. Then a single from Ramos before William May grounds out. 2-0 lead for Soriano here in the first. The White Sox have Murakami Moniak, Teoscar Hernandez, Colson Montgomery, still Jazz Chisholm, and they also got Brenton Doyle, who they must have traded for this year. Kyle Teal starts off with a hit, and Murakami with another one as they have 2 runners on for Teoscar, but they hit into a double play. Wyatt Langford up to start off this next inning, ground out, before Luis Pena gets a double to get on base for Hartman, and Eldridge pops out. Nothing there. Ground out for Antonacci, single for Madroth, and a triple for Montgomery as the White Sox do score a run with a man on third base. 2-2 count for Jazz Chisholm. He is going to take his third strike and go down. 1-1 count for former San Francisco Giant Brenton Doyle, as his opportunity to maybe get revenge on the team that traded him away to Texas. But he can't be too upset. He's here in the World Series and watching strikes go by him. We're out of the second inning. So, top of the third against Shane Smith. Bryce Eldridge. Nope, Casey Smith is going to be up here. He flies out. Luis Arraez strikes out, and Luis Ramirez gets on base with a single. We're going to have him... Oh, did I choose the wrong team? I might have. We'll just pitch here, I guess. I was going to steal second base. I chose the wrong team when I went to swap. Doesn't really matter. I'll go fix that. Ignore that. They both have black hats. I just completely messed it up. Didn't really affect anything, hopefully. Kyle Teal versus Jose Soriano here in the bottom of the third with a strikeout. Murakami strikes out and a fly out for Moniak. Top of the fourth, William May versus Shane Smith is going to get on with a single before we get a walk to put 2 men on for Luis Pena. No outs in the top of the fourth. Luis Pena up to bat. He's going to ground it right into the gap. Should load the bases. I don't think we're going to have anybody go home on that. And the White Sox are going to take out their starter, Shane Smith, in order to try to hold off our runs as we have no outs and the bases loaded here in the fourth inning. Wikelman Gonzalez versus Eric Hartman. He's going to let a strike go by him as he gets used to the new pitcher. He's at 391 so far this postseason. 0-1 count for Eric Hartman, our acquisition from the Atlanta Braves in the Elliot Ramos deal. But Hartman's going to strike out, unable to handle Wikelman Gonzalez. Top of the lineup, Bryce Eldridge up to bat against Wikelman Gonzalez in the 1-2 count. He is going to hit that ball into the gap, out to the outfield. Should be 1 runner, maybe 2. As we get 2 runners in, it's a 4-1 game. We still have 2 men on for Casey Schmidt here with 1 out. He's going to pop that one up. Probably not deep enough to advance the runner. At least I don't think so with Brenton Doyle out there, and we don't. Men on first and second for Luis Arraez. The captain, Luis Arraez, with a chance to extend the lead here in the top of the fourth with a full count. That ball is going to get down, and he is going to be walked on a wild pitch. Time this inning with Luis Ramirez up to bat. He already has a home run on the day. That ball is going to be hit well. Is that going to be deep enough? Brenton Doyle going all the way to the wall. It's not. That could have been so close to a grand slam. He's so upset. He was so close. A little bit more wind, and Ramirez makes it an 8-1 game, but we still have the lead. So Soriano going to try to continue to hold that lead now that he has a good gap in the bottom of the fourth as we give up a solo shot to Teoscar Hernandez. It makes it 4-2 for Antonacci grounds out, Madroth grounds out, and nothing from Colson Montgomery. Elliot Ramos coming up against Wikelman Gonzalez, actually Osvaldo Bido, as he's going to strike out, and William May hits a solo shot. Our catcher responds to Teoscar Hernandez, making it 5-2. Langford is going to get on base. We're going to take that steal as we got a man on second for Luis Pena, who's going to ground out before Hartman comes up and gets a single. Scoring Wyatt Langford, making it 6-2. We'll steal second again, putting a runner in scoring position for Eldridge, who strikes out. The White Sox still only have 5 hits in the day, but they did score some runs. We get a single from Casey Schmidt before runners in the corners for Luis Ramirez. He wants a little bit of vengeance. We have a big lead. Can he extend it even larger? Ramirez, 2 hits on the day, and the one that was almost a grand slam. Runners on the corners for a chance to make the lead even larger against Lucas Giolito, who is back on the White Sox. Giolito with the 2-2. It's going to be a swing and a miss. Ramirez not able to get any ball. Ramos is going to ground that over to third. They're going to try to make it a double play, and the White Sox are able to get out of that with a double play, still 6-2. It's the bottom of the 6th. We're going to hope that Soriano can go one more, and then we'll go to our 7, 8, and 9. Unless he gets into some trouble here against Murakami, Moniak, and Teoscar. Murakami hits a double early before Moniak's going to come up and fly out. Teoscar with a strikeout. Nachi grounds out. We get out of it. It's the bottom of the 8th. They have lefty, lefty, lefty. We are going to go to another lefty. Jose Alvarado, Teal. Murakami gets a single. Moniak gets a double play. It's the top of the 9th. Luis Ramirez against AJ Minter. Strikeout. Ramos grounds out, and William May flies out. It's the bottom of the 9th of Game 4 of the World Series. We're going to bring in Randy Rodriguez to close this one out. Teoscar strikes out. Antnachi on with a single. Let's jump in. With 1 out and a chance for a double play, Chase Madroth could be the last batter of this World Series. Randy Rodriguez throws that one high. That ball's going to be hit deep out in the outfield. Ramos running back to get it. He does catch it. That is going to be the 2nd out for the White Sox as they are down to their last batter, Colson Montgomery. Montgomery scored the first run for the White Sox this entire World Series with a triple earlier today, but has not been able to do enough to help his team win this game as of right now. Pitch in the dirt. We're going to throw that one over to second. William May not able to get it to Arraez cleanly, but still not really a big issue with just a runner on second base. William May getting the ball in the dirt. You know, he's a rookie. Not necessarily the best at fielding it, but him to Arraez, I love the teamwork there. Just not getting him out. Full count for Colson Montgomery, and Randy Rodriguez is going to miss, putting 2 runners on in the bottom of the 9th inning. Jazz down to his last strike here in the bottom of the 9th of Game 4. That ball's going to be grounded over to the shortstop. Luis Pena throws it over to Arraez. Luis to Luis. Game over. 4-game sweep on the White Sox. We are once again World Series champions in San Francisco. The Giants just needed a little bit of a change to the culture. We have done it. We've established a new one. Luis Arraez, our new leader in the locker room. We have our new stars. We have an identity that we never had before. And now we have 1 trophy to hold on to. And there it is, the trophy that we are going to be lifting here in Chicago, not in San Francisco, because we won so easily over this White Sox team. Look, there's going to be much more to this. This team is still super young. I am so excited about what we're going to be able to do over the next couple of years. Technically, we are still the last dynasty to exist, as generally a dynasty requires 3 championships, and the Brewers and Dodgers both only got 2. And our GOAT, Luis Arraez, is the World Series MVP. Playoff MVP goes to Casey Schmidt. Luis Arraez hits .588 in the World Series. He alone scored more runs in the World Series than the entire White Sox team, which is a crazy stat to think of. The question is, how are we going to move forward from that? We've got 2 pitchers we've got to replace, and we've got a lot more to go because we've got more young guys that need to get up to the major league level. Kate Anderson, Jamie Arnold didn't even play on this team this year. So we have 4 guys here that are going into free agency that we have to replace. Taj Bradley is an interesting one because he actually is asking for $27 million. Now, he did not look like a $27 million a year guy. We're going to give him a qualifying offer in order to try to make some return back on him, but I have no real interest in paying him $27 million for the production he gave us. Griffin Jax was good this year, but I think we're going to be able to replace that. Jose Alvarado, on the other hand, he's 34. I think we have the bullpen arms to possibly replace him, but he was really, really good. What is he asking for? $8 million? I can give him $8 million. With the 2 young guys coming up next year, Kate Anderson and Jamie Arnold, I don't think we're in much of a need to replace any starting pitchers here. We could look at the bullpen, like we said with Alvarado, but I actually really like our bullpen as well. I don't see much need to make any real changes outside of letting, obviously, the young guys come in here. And lineup-wise, we were great. I don't really think we have to make any moves whatsoever. We could try to capitalize on some value. Maybe trade away Brock Wilken, maybe some of the prospects that we have coming up. That's a big question mark yet, though. So we don't necessarily know where our regression is going to start to hit. Luis Ramirez is already an 86. William May is already an 86. Pena is a 78. Ybarra, 77. I think those guys obviously have a lot more room to grow. I don't think we're going to do anything, which means this team is going to get significantly cheaper. We have a $95 million of budget. The $27 million pending is actually to Taj Bradley, which we're not going to pay. So we're going to be a really cheap roster trying to run it back. Now, there's a chance we're going to see a drop-off because our pitching staff is going to be worse, but I don't think that's going to be as significant knowing just how much we dominated that playoff series. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Like, we've got guys here that are interesting. We've got top prospects that I'm excited to see. We still have Ruok, who's coming up at some point soon. We have Pena. We've got Jungwoo Won, who could come up here. We have Luis Hernandez, who should be up real soon here as well. God, this team is really fun. This is just the beginning. I don't think I've ever seen a Rule 5 draft where guys like Jonah Tong and Hurston Waldrip are just sitting here available. Now, it makes so much sense to just sign him, but he's actually been terrible. Jonah Tong has been awful the last couple of years, as well as Waldrop's been all right. Look, we have no roster spots. We have no spots to fill them. It's just insane to me that these guys are even just sitting here. This year, the pitching staff is going to be a little bit different. We've already mentioned Kate Anderson, Jamie Arnold are going to be our 4 and 5, with Soroka moving to the bullpen. Pedro Parra is also going to come up. In the lineup, the only new addition is going to be Luis Hernandez, who is more of a defensive replacement at this point. He does not look like he's going to have a lot of offensive abilities, so he's not going to get a lot of playing time, which means that we probably won't get our 4th straight Rookie of the Year, but I do like him as a defensive replacement if we need him, and if somebody underperforms, this team should be phenomenal. I do think May will have a little bit of a drop-off now that he's got Susak behind him. Knew there'd be growing pains, but young guys are not looking very hot so far. And so while it's early, I don't know, back-to-back might not be in the cards. We lose Casey Schmidt for the rest of the year with a dislocated ankle. We should be fine. Not because it's a massive loss, but we're just sitting here fighting for a wild card anyways. I don't know if we're going to be a World Series contender. I don't want to rule it out or anything, but I think we've got young guys that could step up. Schmidt was admittedly playing pretty well. He had 9 home runs, 251 average, and a 735 OPS, but it's still a downtick from where he was the last 2 years. Because Luis Ibarra is going to be the guy who I think is going to stand up for us here. He's not necessarily doing great so far to start the year, but I actually have a lot of faith in what Luis Ibarra can be, and this is his year to get his opportunity. We're still just in this wild card race, as the NL West is very, very competitive between the Padres, Dodgers, and Giants. Padres even made a trade to acquire Corbin Carroll last week. And we do have a few all-stars as well. We have Randy Rodriguez as an all-star in the bullpen with 27 saves so far. And Pedro Parra, I believe he's a rookie. Yes, rookie reliever coming in, and he gets an all-star in his first rookie season. We also do get all-stars from Luis Ramirez, who is one of our best players so far this season, hitting .309 with 11 home runs. And Elliot Ramos, great acquisition to bring him back. He's got 25 homers. though I think Jordan's pretty much cemented the MVP already at the All-Star break. We're in a unique position because we could buy here. There's a chance where we could say, hey, we're contending. We're a wild card team. This could be another World Series year where we could go and acquire this last pitcher to help fix that problem of our two young guys, but I don't know if that makes a lot of sense from a long-term perspective. And I don't want to sacrifice much of our future just based on the guys that we have here on the top of the board. I do think that they could be good acquisitions. I think Parker Messick would be a good one. I don't think McLean's actually he's 1 in 10. Wow, okay. But I don't think we're going to make any moves for this, honestly. So this is going to be the roster we're going to roll with. We do make one big move, though, and that is signing Bryce Eldridge to a 5-year extension until 2035. He is not a 93 overall, a 97 overall at this point. I believe his starting potential in this roster is like an 88. That is an insane development for him to have gotten that much better in the last couple of years. And in the last month of play, Luis Pena tears his Achilles. Good thing we've got Luis Hernandez to step into that role, but that's two big parts of our lineup injured for the rest of the season. And after winning 111 games last year, we only win 88 this year, but it's still good enough to be a wild card team. We'll be taking on the Padres in the first round of the postseason. Yordan Alvarez is the MVP for the Phillies, hitting 55 home runs in his second straight MVP for that Philadelphia roster, beating out Ellie De La Cruz of the Padres. Cy Young goes to Skubal with the Diamondbacks. On the AL side, it's going to go Ben Rice with the MVP. Both MVPs hitting 55 home runs, but Ben Rice, impressive season, beating out the 2 A's as Cy Young goes to Brian Wu, beating out the 2 A's. Cade Anderson did fight his way up to second in Rookie of the Year this season, which means we do got to get another guy on the board, but Jack Moore ends up winning that one. He was a really high pick in one of the drafts that I think we had a high pick, but I think that was the draft we ended up with Luis Ramirez, if I can recall correctly. That was the first year, so yeah, we could have had him. Logan Webb leads the league in innings pitched. I'm not upset, though, at the fact that, we didn't have him because we had a great team, even though pretty underrated. You see nobody really near the top 20 in hits or anything. That's because everybody on this roster was pretty much even across the board. Nothing real special this year. We had some great seasons from Jose Alvarado. Pedro Parra was pretty good. Uribe was meh. Randy Rodriguez was very good, 47 saves this season. Brusdar Graterol was fantastic again. The starting rotation, Logan Webb, really good, 347 with the 113 whip this year. Jose Soriano was really good. McDonald was pretty good, but the bottom two weren't. And that means I think we have enough to win a wild card series. Maybe we can get lucky in the second round. But we do have playoff experience where other teams might not. We didn't really have any standouts this season across the board. Outman only played during September, but 926 from Ramos as an OPS was very, very good. Elliot Ramos was a fantastic addition to this roster to bring him back, and he did really, really good this season. Luis Ramirez was really good, 21 home runs, 309 average on this season with a 5.5 WAR. His second season really establishing himself as just one of our superstars on this roster. Bryce Eldridge, obviously we mentioned him up to a 97 with the extension with a 907 OPS at first base. We've been playing him in the outfield, but now that he's back at first, it's almost better for him. He hit 42 home runs this season. 2 fantastic years back to back for Bryce Eldridge. Hartman was good. Across the board, lineup wise, we were very, very good. May did have a little bit of a drop off, 820 OPS this year, still 6 WAR, but he didn't play 162 games. He didn't hit 318, but that's not a bad season at all from William May, who is our superstar here. The one thing that was disappointing, I think, is, Luis Arraez was a little bit worse this year. I'm not going to act like he was bad, though. 800 OPS still provided a lot of good defensive ability, too, so 3.9 WAR. With Luis Pena getting hurt, with Casey Schmidt getting hurt, Luis Hernandez didn't really step up to do a lot. Wyatt Langford was bad, and Luis Ibarra did not step up. I think for the playoffs, we're going to go Daniel Susak in that position at DH, but Luis Ibarra was unable to step up and really perform. He was worse this year than he was last year. He somehow, in significantly more games and more opportunities, had less home runs, really. Big drop off from Luis Ibarra in year 2. And so we got to beat San Diego here for a chance to advance to go play the Los Angeles Dodgers and make sure they can't find their way back to the top step. There's been a lot of teams winning back-to-back World Series. Will we be able to do it? Logan Webb on the mound versus Lodolo. Then it will be Jose Soriano versus Framber Valdez. And then Trevor McDonald versus Randy Vasquez in San Diego. Game 1 goes... Well, we lose Luis Ramirez, which is going to hurt. And Randy Rodriguez blows a save. One of his first of the season. Not a good start, as now we are on the back foot. Jose Soriano versus Randy Vasquez. Yeah. When you lose Luis Ramirez, Casey Schmidt, Luis Pena, and start a bunch of rookies, team just isn't going to perform, especially if your star closer blows a save. And the Brewers find themselves back on top. It looks like another dynasty has existed, as the Brewers and the A's go back again. This is the next time that they have matched up. They matched up in 2028. We made sure it didn't happen in 2029. Let's get back on top in 2031, so that way the Brewers cannot continue. They've had 3 World Series in the last 4 years. And it was a good playoffs too, by the way. 7 games for Brewers versus Padres, after then 7 games for Brewers and A's. Wow, that would be a great rivalry to see in Major League Baseball. Thanks to the Bryce Eldridge contract extension kicking in, as well as Wyatt Langford's. A couple other guys on the books. We are pretty much out of cash this year. Kind of crazy. We're only at $233 million in salaries, and we don't have the funds after winning a World Series just 2 years ago. But I'm not necessarily like impressed by that idea. I don't have any issues with the idea, because we are like a legit contender still. And that number should go back up. Luis Arraez is going to be in the last year of his deal. Soroka in the last year of his deal here. I think we're going to run it back. Same team. They should be a little bit older, the young guys at least, and maybe this year will be healthy. New year, same team. Chris DiVincenzo is going to be up this time. Jose Buda is going to be up this time. Ked Anderson and Jamie Arnold will still be pitchers 4 and 5. Nothing really different at all. Same thing goes with the lineup. Now, we do have a lot of guys on expiring deals, so I might show some extensions throughout this season, but as long as we're healthy, because we weren't healthy last year, we should be back in the playoffs. It's also a good time to come back and check in on our top prospects, the guys that we have drafted here, just because Luis Ruoc is up to a 76 overall, meaning he could make his debut in September if we want to, if he's pitching really, really well. I also have Jungwoo Wong, who is amazing right now. I think with how well he has played in AA, and we'll send him to AAA this year, there's a chance he could come up to the major league level. If so, then I have to trade Daniel Susac, because he has a backup as a catcher, and I don't feel like having Susac makes a lot of sense as well. Luis Pena could also come up this year too. I think he'll probably actually be better than Ruoc, because Ruoc's just control stats a little lower. And we're back to being healthy, which means once again we are going to be at the top of the NL West so far this season. As long as we can stay healthy, which I don't want to jinx ourselves, this is definitely going to be another contender as a 100+ win team. Last year, I kind of underrated the Casey Schmidt injury and didn't realize how much that was going to hurt us. This year, I think we're in great condition to go back and get back to that World Series title. And part of it was also just experience. I mean, Soriano has been amazing this year. He's back to his Cy Young caliber position. Logan Webb seeing some regression, but McDonald's doing great. Kade Anderson looks pretty good. Jamie Arnold looks pretty good. Soroka still looks great. So yeah, this team is in a great spot. I think we got it again. It helps that William May is also up to a 322 average and a 961 OPS. Last year was a slightly down year for him. I think he's back on top. 69 and 28 at the All-Star break. Very good lead over the Padres. We are healthy. Our pitching staff is doing really, really well. Seems like last year was a growing pains level year. And you can see it by just how much our pitching staff is being rewarded in the All-Star game. Jose Soriano is the All-Star starter this year as he goes for his second Cy Young. Logan Webb also making the game as the 5th guy on that rotation. Randy Rodriguez, the #1 closer, as well as Pedro Parra in his 2nd straight All-Star game. Fantastic acquisition. William May is the All-Star starter at catcher, along with 2 other Williams on the roster. We also have Elliot Ramos as an All-Star in left field. I should also note, Jung-Hoo Lee is an All-Star for the Diamondbacks. He's hitting 283. Good for him. He's down to a 79 overall, but he's having a great year in Arizona. So is James Tibbs, by the way, who is hitting 298 with 20 home runs for the Twins this year with a 924 OPS. He is also an All-Star. So both those guys in the Taj Bradley trade making the Taj Bradley trade look worse and worse and worse and worse every moment that we did it. However, we were the team that did come out with a World Series because of it. The other decision we're going to have to make is what guys to give extensions to this season. Luis Arraez is having a down year, 672 OPS. I think that might mean it might be the end of Luis Arraez here, though he's still really good defensively, so it's hard to say that we should really give up on him completely, and he is the core member of this roster. We'll wait. I'm not going to give him an extension because I think he's going to ask for too much money. We'll wait and see if we can pay him a little bit less later on. Soroka's a free agent. We are going to let him walk. Morahone is a free agent. He is phenomenal, by the way. But we will probably, there's a chance we might let him walk. Susak is a free agent. I thought about trading him, but I don't know if I'm going to find better value than Daniel Susak as a backup catcher, but also I don't know if he's a $13 million backup catcher. Trevor McDonald is also a free agent this year. He has been very, very good for us. I don't know. We've got guys coming. We could let Soroka. I think we'll probably let everybody hit free agency. I'm not going to do any early extensions. And we get 110 wins as we win our division, back on top and back to where we should be. And we get 4 awards on the season: a Cy Young from Jose Soriano, a Hank Aaron from William May, a National League MVP from William May, and a batting title from William May. Year 3, William May is the MVP of Major League Baseball in the National League at the catcher position with a 347 average. 43 homers, 130 RBIs, 1,066 OPS, and 10.1 WAR. He played 25 less games than he did his rookie year, and still, oh my God, what a performance. 189 hits on the season, still playing near Gold Glove level catcher defense at a 10.1 WAR. You're talking about year 3 William May leading the Giants to the top of the NL West. The home runs weren't going to be there, so he was not going to get a triple crown at catcher. That's like nearly impossible, but what a year from year 3 William May. On the AL side, Kurtz wins the MVP and the Cy Young goes to Schlittler, but back then to us, Jose Soriano with the Cy Young, his third. Last year was a slightly down year for him, but he's back to where actually he's significantly better than where he was last year. He looks more like what he did in 2028. Now the 2-time Cy Young Award winner. What a deal we have him on. Remember, it's only $22 million for a 2-time Cy Young Award winning pitcher that the Dodgers traded away for nothing. They had on their roster. They gave him up for nothing. We have a multitude of league leaders as we dominated this year, getting Jose Soriano leading with ERA, winning percentage and wins, Randy Rodriguez in saves, Soriano in whip and pitching WAR, on offense, May with RBIs, batting average, slugging percentage, on base percentage, and WAR. Honestly, so close. The Triple Crowns I don't think was anywhere close to it because Junior Caminero had a lot more. Rafael Devers still hit 48 home runs. So the power was not necessarily there. But when you take a look at the overall jump, he was an 89. Now he's up to a 95 with a +6 power versus righty and a +8 against lefties. He's up to 99 contact. This is... Okay, we got a debate now. 2009 or 2010 Joe Mauer, 2012 Posey, 2025 Cal Raleigh. This might be the best catcher season ever. I think it might be. I'm not trying to ignore like the classics like Johnny Bench and all of that, or Roy Campanella, but it's still going to be insane to match the OPS numbers of what William May was able to do. Luis Ramirez, by the way, his teammate, the other guy who was drafted as a same year, 2027 draft, 949 OPS from our third baseman. What a draft 2027 was for us. Susak ended up having a great year on the bench for OPS 878. Eldridge was all right, 33 home runs, a little bit of a down year from him. Casey Schmidt was pretty good. Ramos was down. Pretty much everybody else was just kind of average here. Luis Arraez, as we talked about, was a little bit worse than where we wanted them to be, but I think we did all right this season. And the pitching staff was great as well. Soroka was still really good in his last year with us. Buda was good. DiVincenzo was pretty good with 71 innings. Pedro Parra, might have to take the closing role now. He's just been so consistent in the last 2 years. Morahone, fantastic. Probably have to bring him back. Gratterall has been phenomenal since we brought him in. He has been one of the most consistent acquisitions in the bullpen. He's actually gotten better every year, which is insane. He's so good. Randy Rodriguez is regressing down to an 82 overall, but still, he's up to 281 career saves and hits his career high in saves this year with 56. He is age 31, so we still could have a little bit more time with him. McDonald 406, 209 from your Cy Young and Soriano. Webb was good. Cade was all right, and Jamie Arnold was not necessarily the greatest. The pitching might be a weakness for this postseason, but I still think we're a 110 win team. We've been here too. And so in our chance to win another World Series, we have the Padres, the team that took us out last year with Soriano on the mound versus Lodolo in game 1. Then it's going to be Logan Webb versus Trevor Rogers in game 2, and Trevor McDonald versus Red Lauder in game 3. For a chance to get our second World Series, we got to take down the Padres pretty quickly here. Soriano versus Lodolo. It's a big offensive game, but we get the win. Likely a little bit late in that one. Logan Webb here in San Francisco against Trevor Rogers takes the L. Gratterall just after I complimented him, taking the loss. Got to win a game in San Diego now. That's going to be Trevor McDonald versus Red Lauder, and we're going to get that win in San Diego. We are up 2-1 with Cade Anderson versus Framber Valdez in game 4. It's going to be a 6-7 loss as Randy Rodriguez cannot hold on. Getting a blown save there. Jamie Arnold versus Nick Lodolo. Game 5 for the chance to go on and take on the Cubs in the NLCS. We are going to be able to do it. A little sloppy from the bullpen. I think I'm going to... Oh, Para was actually one of the guys that fell apart there. I think we're going to adjust here. Nah, Gratterall's never really made mistakes. No, you know what? We'll just leave it. We'll leave it. Soroka, I think, will stay in the rotation here. I don't know if I have a lot of faith in the young guys. Maybe I do go to Soroka as a potential extra starter. I think we will do that. And we'll move Cade Anderson over to the bench, just so we have a lefty on the bench. And so next in the NLCS, we have the Chicago Cubs with a chance to go back to the World Series. The Cubs have been one of the worst teams in baseball for the last couple of years, but they finally beat the Milwaukee Brewers. The Brewers did not make the postseason this time around. Will they be able to take us out? I hope not. Schwellenbach versus Jose Soriano in game 1 is going to be a 2-1 victory for Soriano. Logan Webb in game 2 versus Cole Reagans is going to be a 10-2 victory. Our playoff experience coming in handy at home as Trevor McDonald's going to come on the mound against Chris Bubich. I almost said Kevin Bubich. But it doesn't matter. It's 3-0 Soroka. Game 4 versus Elmer Rodriguez. It is a sweep. We'll be taking on the winner of the A's and the Orioles. Somehow, once again, we have avoided the A's, and we have the Baltimore Orioles as the World Series contender here in 2031 for a chance to win our second World Series title. Jamie Arnold is going to start on the mound in game 1 instead of Soriano, and we're going to go Soriano in game 2. That will leave Logan Webb for game 7 if we need it. Jamie Arnold in game 1 versus Brian Bayo is going to be a 2-3 loss. Randy Rodriguez with another blown save this postseason. Not great, but we can win in Baltimore. So Jose Soriano versus Ernie Jameson is going to be another close victory as we win because Soriano was good. Bullpen likely struggled a little bit in that one. Logan Webb versus Jackson Jobe in game 3 in Baltimore is going to be a 3-4 loss as the bullpen struggles again. We're down 2-1, but we just got to win 1 here in Baltimore. Yeah, because we have home field advantage. Trevor McDonald versus Cam Caminiti is going to be that 11-5 victory to get us that victory that we needed. Before Soroka is going to come up against Brian Bayo in game 5, and we are going to come up big. We are up 3-2 going into game 6. Jamie Arnold versus Ernie Jameson for the chance to win our second World Series. We have it. 2 World Series down. We win in 2031 and 2029. Luis Ramirez is your World Series MVP, and Bryce Eldridge is the playoff MVP this time around. We now have 2 titles. Can we return back to win our third and cement another dynasty here in San Francisco? This is kind of what you call a loyalty signing. I think Luis Arraez we are going to keep on the roster. I'm not going to pay him long term because I think he's going to get cheaper every single year from now on. But I want the 2-time champion and the leader in the locker room to be here as we continue to try to go for a couple more rings and stay here. He might end up moving to the bench, but Luis Ibarra has not necessarily pushed him off of the second base spot just yet, so he can still hold his position. Coming off our second World Series, we have brought up the Luises. Luis Roque, Luis Pena, and Luis Cisneros are all going to be up in the bullpen. We did not bring back Morejon. We did not bring back McDonald. We did not bring back Soroka. In the lineup, while we did bring back Luis Arraez, we did not bring back Daniel Susac. I didn't think it made a lot of sense to pay $13 million for a backup catcher. So Jungwoo Wong is going to get his opportunity. He can play catcher, which is going to be very, very nice as an alternative. Also, he's just really, really good. In addition, because we didn't spend much money this offseason, we were able to save that money and distribute it where it needed to go. Luis Ramirez gets $26 million a year for the next 15 years. A massive contract. He is locked on the books as long as William May is. Been a little while since we showed a debut, so Luis Roque gets his first debut, his opportunity to pitch in the major leagues. Luis Pena also getting his debut today in the bullpen, but Luis Roque did not necessarily do the greatest. He's a shorter pitcher and struggled a little bit to keep guys off of bases, and eventually blew up in the 6th inning where those guys finally got in. He did a great job of getting guys out when they were on base, but it wasn't enough by the end of the game. We do end up losing 3-2. And after the first month of play, we have a little bit of a slow start here. I think the offense is performing well, but the pitching staff is young again. It's part of the thing of cycling in new pitchers like we have been. It means that you always have some weak links inside your rotation and your bullpen, and we have some again. But I don't think that's going to push us out of contention for a potential World Series run, especially when we have Bryce Eldridge hitting like a MVP candidate at first base. Also, Ben Rice is now on the Dodgers. Yes, you are seeing that right. As the season has gone on, this pitching staff has gotten better and better and better. We are now pretty much, we got a nice friendly lead over the Dodgers. Probably one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. It's still early. Jose Soriano, though, has a chance for a 3rd Cy Young right now with how good he's playing. Logan Webb is good. Kate Anderson has not looked like the best acquisition, but when you consider we just gave up Willy Adames for him, doesn't really hurt. But Luis Pena, phenomenal so far this rookie season. Roque, not as much, but these two guys have been really, really good, making up for just how bad Jamie Arnold has been. 61-36 at the All-Star break. We are pretty much in a race with this one with the Dodgers and D-backs. It's been interesting. By the way, the Rockies, who just swept us, are finally over 500. For All-Stars this year, Logan Webb is an All-Star. He is in the Cy Young race instead of Soriano this year. We also have Randy Rodriguez consistently sitting in the All-Star race with 35 saves, leading the way so far in the NL. William May is an All-Star at catcher, hitting .303 with 18 home runs and 59 RBIs, while Bryce Eldridge is in the MVP race. So he is also an All-Star, only other All-Star on our roster. Though we'll also mention James Tibbs is an All-Star for the Padres. We're going to lose Jose Soriano for 1 to 2 months. He should be back by the playoffs, but that's a huge blow to this pitching rotation. Soriano struggled the last couple games, but he is still another Cy Young caliber season here. Don't think it's going to happen for him now, obviously, due to the injuries. Maybe Logan Webb can. He's looking more like his 2030 self, but should be back by the playoffs, which means we got a lot of rookies in this rotation as Carlos Hinojosa is going to jump into the rotation. This also might not be a bad idea to invest in maybe making a trade, which I might do. We have enough assets where I think we would be able to flip for some expiring deal. I don't know if I want to rely on Carlos Hinojosa and have 3 rookies in my rotation for a potential World Series run. So I'm going to look at the trade market. And we make the deal. We end up getting Luis Seal from the Detroit Tigers, giving up Tony Reeves, Todd Powell, and Carmen Carrasco in this deal. A couple prospects, all very good prospects that aren't going to end up making this team in the long term. We are going to let Carlos Hinojosa get a chance. I'm going to send down Jamie Arnold for a little bit instead, just to see if Hinojosa can pitch at the major league level. He has a 2 ERA in AAA right now, but Luis Seal will step into the rotation of Luises. 1 month left to play. I'm going to take a quick caveat. I know we're near the end of the video, but this Dodgers team and the Dodgers have been the most disappointing, worst franchise I think I've ever seen. I've never seen them as bad as they are in this sim. This is not a call out of their roster, because their roster is insane. We saw earlier when they had Jose and Bryce Harper. Then in the past 2 years, they went out and got Ben Rice, who is an MVP candidate, JJ Weatherholt, AJ Ewing, Jose DePaul is still here. They traded for Robbie Snelling, Cade Smith. This team is still insane on talent. But somehow, every year, they fall apart. They obviously don't beat us, but they get to the playoffs and they're just not good. They haven't even been to the World Series. And now here they are behind the Colorado Rockies, behind the GOAT Taj Bradley in their roster. 108 wins this season. We end up winning again, leading this division. Yeah, I guess it wasn't an off year for us. Part of that was due to us getting the Cy Young from Logan Webb and an MVP from Bryce Eldridge, who ends up hitting .317 with 51 homers and 127 RBIs, beating out Jordan. And oh my God, Jake Bauers hit .36. As a 78 overall, he hit .363. What is this? All right. Anyways, yeah, we end up getting the Cy Young, beating out Skeens and Christopher Sanchez. On the NL side, on the AL side, Austin Riley, who was traded halfway through the season to the Guardians, ends up hitting 51 home runs to win that award. Wasn't even in the top 3 in the MVP when he was on the Braves. Gets traded to the Guardians, wins the MVP. Chase Dollander wins the Cy Young for the Houston Astros. And the other thing we wanted to show is in the Rookie of the Year race, Luis and Luis. Yeah, our pitching staff is going to be really interesting going into this opportunity to get another World Series here. We ended up sending down Jamie Arnold and Hinojosa because they were both bad. Kate Anderson also wasn't good either. So funnily enough, I don't think either of those two trades worked out very well. I guess technically we did win a World Series last year because of both of them. So maybe it's just, they just got to be good at the right time. Our rotation, Luis Seal, 350 with the 139. Our Cy Young award-winning Logan Webb, 327 with the 108. Soriano coming back from his injury, 328. Luis Pena, 361 and 415 from Luis Ruoc. Good for the two Luises. The rest of the bullpen was all right. Game did send down Randy Rodriguez, who has dropped down to a 76 overall. Massive regression in another 56 save season, but he blew 15 saves this year. Think of how many more games we would have won had he not. This team was led by Bryce Eldridge, 98 overall, 1,000 OPS season for the first baseman, the MVP, with 51 home runs, 198 hits, 127 RBIs, and 8.7 WAR. Your first baseman ends up finally having his best season, beating out pretty much his teammate William May, who had 41 home runs, 115 RBIs, and another 9 WAR season. What a core here. Luis Ibarra has stepped up. Second base is now his. If he wants it, he was really good this year, hitting .324. Casey Schmidt hit .311 in what is probably his last year, I think, here. Luis Ramirez dealt with some injuries late in the season, but still hit .274. Wyatt Langford, 5.5 WAR this year with a .288 average as our defensive man. And Luis Arraez did all right down here, .286. Jungwoo Wong did pretty good in his rookie season. I'm happy for the 10 home runs. Yeah, this is, I think we can win a World Series with this lineup. 2 Cy Youngs and 3 Luises on the mound for the Colorado Rockies in the next 5 games. Where hopefully we can, not have to play 5 games against them. They have Taj Bradley, who will be pitching in Oracle. He's actually used to playoff games in Oracle. Hopefully losing them like he did for us last time. Logan Webb versus Rafael Chacon in game 1. It's going to be a 1-6 loss. Our bullpen, Randy Rodriguez, gives up a lot. What happened, dude? Was that a save opportunity? How do you give up 5 runs? My God, it was 1-1. And Randy Rodriguez gives up 5 runs. Yeah, he's washed. Jose Soriano versus Jonathan Cannon in game 2. We do win an Oracle. We got to go to Colorado and get some runs here. Our offense is pretty potent, but they are the Rockies. So Luis Seal versus Taj Bradley in game 2. There's the 15 runs on Taj Bradley. We're up 2-1. Luis Pena versus Harvey Albert in game 4 in Colorado is going to be a victory. We'll be taking on the winner of the Phillies and Cubs. The Phillies beat the Cubs in 5 games, so we are taking on this extremely dominant offense of the Philadelphia Phillies, who have been in contention for MVPs every single season. They have Josh Naylor, who was in the contention last year. They have Jake Bauers. They have Yordan Alvarez. They have great pitchers. This team is really good, and it's Luis Roark on the mound versus Andrew Painter for game 1 in Oracle. We are going to take the loss as the rookie gets absolutely shelled He only makes it 1 out as he gives up 4 runs, 2 hits, and 3 walks. In that opportunity, 180 ERA for Roque. He gets absolutely annihilated. Game 2, Logan Webb versus Sheehan in Oracle is going to be another loss. Randy Rodriguez blowing another save. We are on the back foot here in Philly. Soriano versus Sanchez is going to be an 8-0 victory. We do win in Philadelphia. We're going to win another one in Philadelphia as we go to Luis Seal versus Andrew Painter. And we are going to get it. It's 2-2. Luis Pena versus Cade Cavalli. In Game 5, we are down as Abner Uribe now blows it. Our bullpen struggling. It's going to be Boston in the next series here. Luis Ruoc versus Christopher Sanchez is going to be a victory. We're going to Game 7. Give it to me. Logan Webb. We got it. We're taking on the Red Sox in the World Series. It was a comeback, honestly. The fact that we were able to do it, we were down 2-0, but we end up pulling that off despite our terrible bullpen. And this should be a pitcher's duel. Our Cy Young pitchers versus theirs. They have Crochet and Jacob Mizorowski and Trevor Rogers to start off this series. This could be a tough one to take on the Boston Red Sox with. But we have the experience. They do not. Soriano versus Crochet in Game 1 is an 8-3 victory. Soriano taking down Crochet. Game 2, Luis Seal versus Jacob Mizorowski. Okay, Jacob Mizorowski has plenty of playoff experience at this point. He has 3 World Series titles. Boston paid him. Don't let him get any more. He gets the loss. Thankfully, Luis Gil getting that one as we take a 2-0 lead. Luis Pena versus Trevor Rogers in Game 3 is going to be a loss in Boston. Pena taking the L. Ruoc versus Crochet in Game 4. They're going a 3-man rotation, which I guess if you've got that good of a pitching staff, why not? Ruoc versus Crochet in Game 4 is going to be a 6-5 victory. We end up pulling that one out. They're going to Todd Collier versus Logan Webb in Game 5 for our chance to finalize it and win 3 World Series. We can't. Logan Webb taking the loss. Doesn't matter. We wanted to win in Oracle versus Jacob Mizorowski, because that's the other team we had to worry about. That's the other Dynasty pitcher. Soriano versus Mizorowski is a loss. Game 7, World Series 2032. And here we are trying to not blow a 3-1 lead to the 82-win Boston Red Sox. And they have a fun roster. They've got Earl Lockhart at first base, Roman Anthony, Jordan Walker, Gunnar Henderson, Cedane Rafaela. I think that's Luke Adams. I have no idea who that is at third base. Jazz Chisholm, Franklin Arias, and Anthony Siegler. With Garrett Crochet on the mound for Game 7. Luis Seal, can you get us this? Earl Lockhart gets on with a walk to start it off, for Roman Anthony hits into a double play and a ground out from Jordan Walker. Crochet going to start with a ground out from Luis Ramirez, then a solo shot. MVP Bryce Eldridge taking the early 1-0 lead. William May strikes out and Ramos strikes out, but we have the lead after 1. Top of the second, Gunnar Henderson's going to ground out. Rafaela's going to strike out, and Luke Adams is going to fly out. Casey Schmidt comes up with a single to start the second inning, where for a double play from Luis Pena, a single from Luis Arraez to get on, and a fielder's choice gets nothing else. Luis Seal versus Jazz Chisholm gets the ground out, then a ground out, and then a pop out. First 3 innings, first time through the order, no hits for Luis Seal. Wyatt Langford starts off versus Crochet with a walk to get onto first base. I think he could steal second, but I'm not going to risk it. Luis Ramirez hits the 2-run shot. Glad I didn't risk it. We have a 3-0 lead as another franchise player gets a home run, strikeout from Eldridge, and a double from William May to put him on for Ramos. Ground out, and a 2-run shot from Casey Schmidt. It's 5-0 for us. Pena gets on with a single, another single. We are rocking. Garrett Crochet. You're going to Jake Bennett for Jung-Hoo Wong as its bases loaded. We've hit around the order, and Wyatt Langford comes up to bat with a strikeout. 5-0 San Francisco Giants. Earl Lockhart up to start the 4th inning with a single. Roman Anthony is going to come up after the stolen base and get a double to make it 5-1. Another hit from Jordan Walker makes it 5-2. Stolen base, ground out, strikeout, ground out. A little bit of a rough start there for Heel in the 4th, but we still have a 3-run lead. Luis Ramirez with a single, strikeout from Eldridge, flyout from May, strikeout from Ramos. Top of the 6th, we've given up 3 hits so far. Pop out, strikeout, and a strikeout. Still nothing. Luis Seal, 6 great innings. Jung-Woo Wong coming up gets a ground out to start off the inning before a single from Langford puts a runner on for Luis Ramirez, who walks. Man on first and second for Bryce Eldridge, who hits his second home run of the day. 3-run home run from the MVP. We have an 8-2 lead. They go to Spencer Miles, and William May hits a home run. We are up 9-2. Strikeout, flyout. All of our guys have hit phenomenally so far today. Gunnar Henderson with a single, ground out from Rafaela, 2-run shot from Luke Adams. That'll be the end of Luis Eel's day. We will go, oh my God, this bullpen is rough. I don't want to blow it. I think I'm going to go DiVincenzo to start here against Chisholm. Strikeout, single for Arraez at a fielder's choice. 9-4 here in the bottom of the 7th as we get a walk from Luis Pena to put him on. Then a runner's on first and second for Jung-Woo Wong with a flyout. Langford gets a double, but the runner is thrown out, so there's still only a man on second with 2 outs. They go to Brad Lord, who's going to let up a walk before Eldridge. 3-run home run. 3 home runs in Game 7 of the World Series. Bryce Eldridge. Make a name for yourself today. Bryce Eldridge, Casey Schmidt with his second home run of the day. We have a 14-4 lead. Luis Arraez hits a solo shot, a triple from Langford. We're just going to let DiVincenzo finish it. That's going to be it. We've defeated the Red Sox. Their 3-1 comeback is over. Our offense comes in insane in Game 7 here. We do it easily. We are back on top again. A back-to-back World Series for your San Francisco Giants and 3 World Series in 4 years. The dynasty is real in San Francisco with many more years to come. The Brewers set their dynasty up based off the trades we gave them. Their team got a little old, got a little expensive. Our team was cheap because of it. And now here we are, on top of the world 3 times in 4 years, behind a real fun core. 3 home runs for Eldridge on the day. We are World Series champions. Who other than Bryce Eldridge is your World Series MVP with Luis Arraez as the playoff MVP? Glad we kept the veteran around. He's down to an 84, but he's so valuable to have on this roster. Rookie Jung-Woo Wong coming up today. William May here. What a series. I was afraid we were going to lose this one and it was going to look exactly like it was 2013. Not that not that they lost necessarily, but that the Red Sox would win in 2013. And this was our 4th year of our chance here, but we end up winning faster than last time for this World Series. We end up getting 2 Cy Young Award pitchers, and we've got a lot of aces in our rotation that I think are exciting to come up. We've got 2 MVPs. Dude, the parallels to the 2010s San Francisco Giants and this franchise are insane. If you consider 2029 to be our 2010, we got a Rookie of the Year from our catcher. So did they. When you consider that, then 2031 is an MVP from our catcher and another World Series on top of that. What a crazy run to get out of this, as well as our 2 Cy Youngs, just like it was with Lincecum. This time it was Soriano and Logan Webb, both guys that we had in our system here after the acquisition of Soriano. And we have more guys coming. And I actually think we built a fantastic culture here. We had the 1 injured year in 2030 where we were unable to do it. But really, this was one of the most successful teams with a great turnaround of the assets that we had. William May, to me, is one of the most exciting players I think I've ever drafted. I've never drafted a catcher that has done as well as William May here. 182 hits, 41 home runs this year. In 4 years, he's at 143 hits, or 143 home runs, 312 average. We got a 948 OPS catcher with already 34.7 WAR and an MVP in his career. We're talking about one of the best players to ever exist. And despite the injuries of Luis Ramirez, his co-draft partner in that draft ended up being really good as well. Another consistent hitter and near the top of the lineup. Maybe not as good because he's not as good defensively, but another just co-conspirator to put alongside him. Then you have MVP Bryce Eldridge, who took a little time to get there. Obviously, in 2026, 2027, he was a little inconsistent, but once we started to see him perform, he has been phenomenal. Now an MVP with 51 home runs in year, I think this is technically 8 for Eldridge. Actually I can just check because it's right here. I think it's year 7 technically based on service time, but he's 27. So you've got a 27-year-old who's an MVP as well and a 98 overall. With a team that has a lot yet to come, we've got obviously our Cy Young Award winner in Soriano, Logan Webb. Luis Seal is just an acquisition here, but we've got Luis Pena, Luis Ruoc, Luis Pena, Luis Arraez, Luis Ibarra, Luis Ramirez. I could just keep adding other guys named Luis Cisneros, Luis Fuentes. I love that ended up being what this team ended up becoming. But if you consider the future, let's just say that we just don't re-sign anybody, which we 100% would. This team has a lot yet to go. Eldridge, by 2035, is still here. Delahanty has now come up at this point. We've got 93, 92, 85, 85, and 81. Johnny Level is here. Luis Ramirez. William May is a 99 at this point. I mean, this is not even mentioning the fact that we might keep our guys like Luis Pena and Ibarra and Luis Hernandez, who really didn't get to perform. We got to see everybody play, though. I mean, Luis Arraez might end up going down as one of the greatest players of all time. Well, at least in San Francisco Giants history, because look at how much he turned this team around by being here. 3 World Series, consistent hitter. Now that he's a great defensive player, he's actually a really, really good second baseman. This might be, okay, I might be stretching it. This might be a Hall of Famer. Not realistically here, but when you consider what he ended up becoming, there's a chance. You're talking about a great hitter, and he would probably play for a lot longer. If you consider that we probably keep this guy around. I might be stretching it, but I think that there's a lot of players here that I'm excited for the future. If you just take a look at their career stats here of some of our guys, let's just say we look at home runs here and sort them by here. We've got Ramos, 248, Eldridge at 232, Schmidt, 223 in his time here. William May's already at 143. We've got some career OPSs of 948 from William May, 891 from Ramirez, and 859 from Eldridge. Casey Schmidt, down to his 79 overall, is still going to end his career with a great 223 home runs probably here, as long as you don't talk about everybody else that he's adding. Some of the guys we've added, Hartman has been good as an acquisition. I think Luis Pena has been pretty good. Not necessarily super great. I think Devers would have been nice, but also the $30 million definitely hurt, and, you know, having him in the locker room. But this was a long video, and we've been here for a long time. You can hear my voice starting to run out, hopefully. Or maybe not. Maybe you won't hear it. Anyways, we've won. We did it. We created the Dynasty in San Francisco. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Adios.